I know how somatic tracking can sound like woo-woo and fluff and just a fancy name for meditation. And hearing a word like this can make you feel like you're imagining the pain. The pain is real, so you want real treatment. I get that. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what somatic tracking is, the science behind it, and why it's not what you think it is. If you've heard the term somatic tracking and you roll your eyes and you just dismiss it off as something made up, I completely get that, because I used to think exactly the same thing. Whenever I heard the term meditation, somatic, wellness, yoga, I just thought fluff. How is sitting still doing nothing going to help? I understand that reaction though. You're in real physical pain, so you want real physical solutions, not something that sounds like sitting quiet and hoping for the best. By the end of this video, you'll understand what somatic tracking is, the science behind it, how it can help with fibromyalgia and chronic pain, common misconceptions, how it links to my program, and why getting rid of the pain is not the end goal. Somatic tracking is a practice that is used to literally track the physical sensations that you feel in the body. Most of the day, we're in our head. We're thinking about something, we're planning something, we're thinking about what we're going to have for dinner tomorrow, or we're thinking about that plan we're going to have to cancel tomorrow because of how much it might hurt. Somatic tracking is about noticing what's coming up in the body physically, whatever sensation that might be. If it's pain, if it's tightness, you might feel a lump in the throat, butterflies in your stomach, a tightness across the chest, whatever that sensation might be. The aim of somatic tracking is to literally be with that sensation without trying to change it, without trying to resist it, without any judgment. Most people think that the aim of somatic tracking is to get rid of the pain, that once you're finished, that you won't have any pain anymore, or the sensations would have gone away. But it's actually the opposite. The goal of somatic tracking is to be with those sensations, without the judgment, without the fear, without trying to change it, and without trying to resist it. It's to simply notice these sensations from an open and neutral place, rather than out of fear and judgment, and without reacting to them immediately, and without trying to change them. So as an example, a lot of people with fibromyalgia, when they feel pain, the first instinct or immediate reaction is to try to push it away and get rid of it. So what do we naturally do? Take a painkiller, put some heat gel on, go to sleep, go and lie down. It's all something to avoid the pain and to get rid of it. And I understand why that is, because when you feel pain, it's an uncomfortable sensation. Nobody wants to be in pain. To understand how somatic tracking works, it's important to understand the basic science behind it. So the nervous system has two main responses. The first one is the sympathetic response, and this is also known as fight and flight. This is when your body is on alert, it's ready to run away or to fight something. This is where heart rate will increase, breathing rate increases, your pupils dilate so you can see better. And the next response is the parasympathetic, or rest and digest. This is when things settle down, your breathing and heart rate decrease. This is where your body will feel calm, relaxed and regulated. And with these two responses, we naturally will shift between the two throughout the day. So if you imagine driving to work, someone cuts you off, you feel a bit angry, that's sympathetic. As you keep driving, you get to work, your nervous system will settle down. Once you settle in, you have a cup of tea, your body comes back into that rest and digest, you can get on with the rest of your day. With fibromyalgia and chronic pain, the nervous system is usually in a state of sympathetic dominance. So that means that the body is in the fight and flight stage more often than not. Somatic tracking can be a way to shift you out of that stage and back into rest and digest again by reframing those physical sensations from fear to safety. So when you observe a sensation without judgment and without trying to change it, the part of your brain that's responsible for calm, rational processing will activate, whilst lowering activity in the fear centers that are responsible for detecting a threat. In a nutshell, the less that your brain treats a sensation as dangerous, the less it will sound the alarm. For women with fibromyalgia, most sensations get marked as a threat almost instantly. The pain shows up and the reaction is usually fear, resistance, or trying to make it stop. That reaction itself is what can keep the nervous system locked in threat mode. Somatic tracking can break that cycle. So instead of something's wrong, we need to fix it, it teaches your brain that this is uncomfortable, but it's not dangerous. Over time, when that message is repeated enough, sensations that used to trigger panic can genuinely start to shift because the nervous system isn't treating them as an emergency anymore. Now, neuroplasticity is a word that a lot of you may have heard, and it's very common in the healthcare setting nowadays. Neuroplasticity basically means change. It's the brain's ability for change, to grow and to reorganize itself, to form new connections and new pathways that over time, once repeated enough, can then become the new normal. So real life and day-to-day examples are things like brushing your teeth with your dominant hand, using a pen, riding a bike, driving a car. These are all things that you don't have to think about doing anymore. Your body is on autopilot and those pathways are formed, they're very strong and they're automatic. If you tried to switch it over and say you're brushing your teeth with your left hand instead of your right, or you're writing and using a pen with your non-dominant hand, or you're driving a car and the clutch is on the opposite side, you will still be able to learn how to use it, but it will take some time. But those pathways need to be built. And it's the same with this. The old pathways are the painful pathways. It's the ones with the fear and the resistance and wanting to change it and to make it stop. Somatic tracking is helping to build a new pathway. So as soon as you start, it'll feel very difficult. But the more you show up, it becomes easier. The more that you practice somatic tracking, the more that it will become familiar for your body and for your nervous system. Through neuroplasticity, it can become stronger, and the old, fearful and painful pathways can become weaker and weaker. One thing worth mentioning is if your symptoms are already quite overwhelming, this isn't the moment to then push into a long session. Staying within a tolerable window matters. Going too far the other way can be quite overwhelming rather than calm, and that then defeats the purpose of this exercise entirely. The biggest misconception of somatic tracking is to get rid of the pain, or that the aim of it is for the symptoms to reduce or to stop. But it's actually the opposite. As soon as you start a session and you try to get rid of the pain, or you are looking at it through a lens of fear or judgment, all that does is it brings the nervous system back into that sympathetic drive and into fight and flight. That can increase the symptoms, it can increase the pain, and all it does is it just turns that sensation back into a threat. All this does is it adds more pressure, more frustration, and more danger signals. So the easiest analogy that I like to use for this is imagine planting a seed and then digging it up every day to check to see if it's grown. It doesn't speed up the process. All it does is it disrupts the natural flow. Somatic tracking isn't about achieving a specific outcome. It's about changing the relationship with the sensation itself. From something that you fear to something that you simply just notice. Just as when you're walking down the street and you notice all the cars that are driving past you. What I've spoken to you about today is exactly what phase 2 of the back to normal protocol looks like. The whole aim of this phase isn't pushing forward to fix anything yet. It's learning to look at your symptoms differently first, without fear, so everything else after that has a foundation to build on. Somatic tracking isn't fluff, and it's not about reaching a result on demand. It's a genuine nervous system backed way of teaching your body that it is safe, which is often the exact thing that's been missing from every real treatment that you've tried. And if you're at the point where you're ready to actually do this properly with real guidance, the link to apply and book a call is in the description as well. I hope you've enjoyed this video today. Leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to my channel, and I will catch you at the next video.